mostly very happy with how it came out. Let's see how it fits. My clippers. Had these for quite a few years. Don't mind the corrosion and whiskers probably. And Alright, this is going to be a new format here. I haven't done it this way, and I think it should be much better viewable product. So let me know in the comments what you think of this. So I'm printing this live right now. It's broadcasting live on my channel, this print. So I'm watching my own live feed for a second here just to show you that it's printing in action. And so what I'm printing is I have these hair clippers, and I'm missing the number 1, which was kind of my go-to one. I don't know how I lost it. And a tooth broke off the half, and so I decided to go into Solidworks and create my own here. And so I have already created it, and I recorded it, and I'm just going to speed through it in the recording and narrate it at super high speed, because it ended up taking me like 2 hours, all said and done, and measuring and everything. And it took me a couple hours, and I said nobody's going to watch it for a couple of hours. But if I have it playing at like 70 times speed here, and so here is what's going on. And so basically I'm going to make a parametric model so I can make any of these sizes. And so I started with the number 3, and so basically if I create the number 3, and then I can adjust it to size for the regular ones. And this is kind of a tricky geometry to measure with these clippers. It's very three-dimensional. It's not just like, as they say, 2.5D. There are well, I mean, it wasn't super complicated, but a little tricky, and not all 90-degree angles, and not always easy to measure various things. So I kind of just, you can see here, I'm measuring and I'm breaking things, but I'm just going from measuring what I can and trying to get the layout as good as I can. And basically my technique here is to make one master sketch and then of the basic shape, and then later I will project the geometries onto later sketches to create individual features. And so as you can see, I'm sort of working through this, trying to get it all fully defined, or at least mostly fully defined. Like, there's ends up being a couple arcs that aren't quite fully defined, but that's fine. And so that was my main sketch. And so now you can see I started a new sketch based on geometry from that sketch, and I'm projecting geometry, and so it goes pretty quick after that. There we go, looking good. And it's almost going a little too fast. This part had to do some thinking here, really trying to mimic the shape of it. Let me go back to the website so you can see here, sort of. You can kind of see here, it's got these grooves here, these slots here, and that allows this to flex relative to these two. You can see it a little bit. There it goes. So cutting those grooves and just getting rid of that. So I don't know if you see what, I want to go back a little bit. Trying to go back here to go to here, yeah, just to show what I was doing here. Go. Yeah. And so making that flexure piece. And so you can see this flexes and that snaps over the guard. Started to do it one way, and then I realized a quicker way to do it, and so I get rid of that one, and now I can just change this sketch. The distance between these lines basically tells me how thick that's going to be. Now for this size, which is actually the 0.5, I didn't change the 3 yet. It's actually a little different. So this is showing the 0.1, showing the number 1, and that's probably the number 2. And I had to add these little reinforcements on the sides so the sides don't flare out on accident. And so yeah, that was little changes specifically to the number 1. But now I realize that the number 0.5. Now I realize that the number 0.5 on mine has more tines than the rest of them, and so just changing the number to 0.5, and so maybe I'll redo that 0.5 to get more tines. And then here's the number 1, and then 5.01 or whatever it is. It's quite a bit. It's significantly different than the older version that I've been using for like a year now. Hadn't tried to update it, and I see that there are significant changes now. So it seems kind of nice, and I wonder about, like, people use the Orca Slicer. I was just looking at that this morning, but I wonder if this catches up to Orca Slicer now. I don't know. Anyway, so you can see my final number 1 print here, and I'm going to do, I was debating which way to print it, and so I decided to print it flat side down, or side down, and then use supports. And I decided to use tree supports, figuring that will make a nicer print. And let's go back to my print. Looks like it's printing successfully. Love this printer. This is K1 Max, if I didn't make that clear. Back to my video. And I guess I was going pretty slow in here. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't speed this up. I sped up the other one. Yeah, I was going regular speed on this video. So that is the with tree supports, and I just did the 0.24 millimeter draft because I figure that's about 5 layers per time, which should be plenty. And so it should take about a half hour to print. And I'm broadcasting the print live, like I said. Now, unfortunately, I've accidentally had it on private for the first 8 minutes, and this is only a half hour print, but no harm done. This hyper white looks really cool. It's I don't know, maybe it's more transparent than other whites that I've used. Because a lot of times with white stuff, it just on the video it just looks all white. Might help that it's a pretty good camera. It's a Pixel 7 Pro phone, so that might be helping. But I think that white is just very translucent, and so allows a lot of light to come through, and so you can really see the geometry. And I guess, you know what, if it was just flat geometry of the guard, then it wouldn't be as cool. It wouldn't be as much contrast, but with these tree supports, that really makes it interesting looking, I guess. One more reason to use tree supports. They just work really well too, though. I wouldn't say they use them from everywhere. A lot of times, probably more often, I do use standard supports. But whenever I use the tree supports, I'm very impressed with how well they work. Looking to see, I mean, we're more than halfway done because I'm at the top edge of the rear snap clip latch. And so basically this one, that's halfway up the print. So we are getting there. It's probably 10 more minutes. Is there anything else that I wanted to show? I can just go back into my CAD model here, and we'll see if there's anything else to discuss on it. So yeah, so this is the number 1. And so I guess what I didn't make clear there, let's just do this. Let's roll right through it real quick. So first I made this sketch. That's my main driving sketch, and this is based on the number 3, which is 3/8 or what they call it, 10 millimeter, which is pretty close. It's off by like half a millimeter or whatever. And just enough to get the basic geometry. And then I patterned that, and then I modified this outside face because the outside face retains it side to side, the outside 2 faces. And so then I mirrored all that, and then I extruded this, the snap, the full length, and then the nub, the nubs, the full length, and then I think I cut away the nubs here. Yep, and those just rest on the metal clipper, platen or whatever it's called. And then here I cut that out, so now you're really starting to see that's basically the whole geometry done. Then I had the number cut out. I don't know if you know how to, it's pretty easy to do in Solidworks sketches. I tell you what though, Rhino can do all kinds of cool things as far as like bending text around 3D surfaces and things. Like I was looking for my sub vid. like subvid. No, subvid movie. So like this thing, I made this in Rhino, and it didn't even really take me that long. And I'm not even expert at Rhino, just kind of, I mean, I know it's more of a grasshopper thing than Rhino. But anyway, yeah, subscribe. Yeah, hey, good reminder. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And all that good stuff. And so let's see what else on here. And so then what am I moving face on? Oh, that was I made the 3 bold on there, but I did away with that. And then this guy is what? Oh, I put these reinforcements on the side, so these sides will resist flaring out. Just mimicking the design I'm holding in my hand from Wahl. And let's see, just fill it there, but suppressed for whatever reason. Oh, that was for that specific size. All right, so here, what I decided to do is to create this big round boss and then cut this part out of it, which is the perimeter. So I'm going to combine right here. So now I have this big round boss, but with this shape cut out of it. And then I'm going to trim the bottom off. And so what this allows me to do is basically realign this to where I want to cut it off. So like if I adjust the size, so I have this sketch here called adjust size, right? And basically that gives me this number. And so this bottom line is basically at the blade, right, of the clippers. And so whatever number I put here, so this is 1/8 of an inch, 0.125 is 1/8 of an inch, so 0.13, close enough. Excuse me. And so wherever I put this line, now my next feature, or not my next feature, but basically, yeah, this next feature moved it to that line. See what happened there? So let me do that again. So that's there, and then I move it to here, and it's there. And if I move this up, it'll follow it, right? And so if now I combine these, now it's trimmed back down. And I also added this fillet here. But basically, so now if I can adjust this size to whatever dimension clippers I want, up to the 3/8. I don't need one bigger than that. I mean, I already have them anyway. I could definitely adjust this and make them as tall as I want. And actually, it'd be very easy to do. And I'll probably do that because I'm probably going to put it for download. Might help somebody. Might make me $1 or $3. But I like putting my that's interesting. I like putting my stuff on cults3d.com. I find that it's an easy enough interface. I don't have to come up with an entire business plan. Like I was doing one like Thangs 3D. Maybe it was that one or My Mini Factory or something like that. I don't know. I had to come up with like a business plan and like it was like not a business plan, but like structure things and I don't know. There was like you had to do a whole bunch of planning ahead. Whereas Cults 3D, I could just upload it, put a price on it, put a description, and people can download it or not. There's no like grouping thing, like forcing you to do things like that. I like tools, but it was like forcing me to do things. So anyway, that almost sounds like I'm complaining. But so that's about it. Let's see how the print's coming along. It's getting there. It's actually pretty close to done. What else? So I didn't do super high speed. Just did the draft quality. This is Hyper PLA though, so I could have done a little faster. But I was printing the other day at like 511. So this is probably like 300 millimeters per second. I had maxed out at like 511. Not maxed out. I had upped it to like 511. I could have gone faster. Haven't tested how fast I can go yet, but and that was also on the exterior walls and the perimeter walls and everything, everything except for the first layer. So it was actually really fast and printed fine. Very fast printer, very satisfying printer to use. Nice build volume. What else do we have going on in here? Let me go into the slicer a little bit. So they added on the slicer. Here you go. You can see my tree supports here. I thought it was going to put it in the one there, but it didn't. It's interesting how the tree supports put. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Oh, there we go. So the makes the trunk sort of, and then it makes these little, just a little bit of a squiggle there, just enough to rest those on, and it seems to work really well. So I'm basically going to print this one size, which is the one that I'm missing. We'll see how that fits and see how it works. And if that works, then I'll probably print off the half size too, and also save more sizes to STL files so that people can download them. Interestingly, if I upload to Cults 3D, it forces me to upload at least one STL file. Step files, it'll take step files, because this slicer will slice step files. And the reason I like that, see this nice smooth curve? If I made this an STL file, this would be like faceted, to be like low poly type of thing. Now I can make it higher poly with this, with saving the STL, very high quality, but it's still mesh, and so there's still a little bit of jaggedness to it. It's almost like anti-aliasing versus not anti-aliasing. So using the step file versus using the STL file. So I do like to use the STL files. It's funny though, when I send client files, they're like, I can't open this STL file. I can't open this step file. I'm like, sorry. Actually, it's because this one particular client is because he has a Mac. And I guess the Creality print slicer for Mac, because he bought the same printer, the printer for Mac, slicer for Mac doesn't allow you to use step files, or it didn't then. Anyway, maybe this new one does. I'll have to ask him. But, so there we have it. I don't know if we have anything else to mention here. So I see the multi-material support now in this slicer. Like if I had a multi-material setup, I could make the supports a different material or whatever, and I am in the market for a multi-material printer. I actually tried to get, it was so annoying, I tried to get the K1, I'm sorry, the K2 Plus the other day, and in the first, the 50% off, the website was broken, and it wouldn't, said it can't ship to my address. And somebody did comment that something about this printer's not being in the warehouse in my area yet, which doesn't make any sense because they're not printing until September anyway. So they're not in anybody's warehouses. They need to produce them first. So, but whatever. This is just about done here. And so then they said, oh, well, there was a problem with our website, and so we're going to do another 50% day the next day. And so I went to do that, and it just said out of stock the whole time. And then after that, it was 40%, and it just said out of stock the whole time. Like literally from the minute that it started, I was on there, and it just said out of stock the whole time. And so now I have to pay $1,500 instead of $750, and I'm pretty turned off by that, especially since I've already bought. Last year, I bought Ender 3 S1 Pro. I bought K1. I bought K1 Max. I bought a CR Scan Ferret, and I'm pretty close to pulling the trigger on a CR Scan Raptor, was it? Whatever the new one is, like $1,500. But I've emailed Creality, and usually I love their customer service. I even have a video on how to get good customer service from them. And I'll have to follow up. I guess probably they had a million emails that those days. I guess I'll follow it up and ask nicely, and maybe and show them all my proofs of purchases, and maybe they'll be sympathetic and give me the discount. Disappointing that I have to wait till September anyway, so I might not even wait that long. I'm kind of jonesing for multi-material printing. But in any case, let's just get this back on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe and like and share with your friends, and I'll add on to this video, I guess, actually putting the guard on the clippers and see how it works. So stay tuned, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so here's my clippers, and this is with the number 1.5 that I already printed and cleaned. This is quite a bit different. I added some reinforcement. This is quite a bit different than what shows earlier in the video. I made some changes. I added these two ribs here because with it 3D printed, with it not being solid, and with it being PLA, this would get stressed and lose its capability to clip. And I also made this much thicker and longer and also sort of dished so it's easier to get my finger under there to pop it off. Okay. And I also included this bar across all of them just to hold to give the tines some extra support. And you can see here that it doesn't impinge on the cutting. So it just gives it some extra strength to hold it together, especially because it's PLA. And the reason I'm using PLA and not a stronger material is because the supports pop off of PLA so much better. And so I ended up making 4 sizes, and I could make more sizes, but for now I put these 4 sizes up for download. And I'll show you how. So that was the 1.5. Here's the 2, which is 1/4 inch. So the 1.5 is 3/16, 190 thousandths. I could clean this up a little bit better, but it's pretty good. And this tine went a little goofy. Not sure what happened there exactly. And I figured I would chop that off at some point. But I also don't want it to be uncomfortable. Well, I'm going to cut that off when I have the proper tool in front of me, which I don't see, which is, I don't know if you call those nippers. And I could potentially clean out between these tines. This is this is a burnishing, what do they call it? Burnishing tool. So it's like the edge is kind of curled up here. You can't see it at all. It's very almost microscopic, but it's basically for scraping things a little bit. Allow you to take off any excess material in there. I bought these off like Amazon. If you look up burnisher kit, you can feel, can you hear that? So this one's rounded off. This one's curled up. So this one's burnished to curl up toward the camera. Can you hear the difference? I'll do it by the microphone. Sorry about that. That's the non-burnished side. That's the burnished side. So anyway, it came like a set of 4, pretty cheap. Got those a while ago. But anyway, so let's see. So this is the half size, which is a 1/16 of an inch. So let's clear get these supports off. I like to start at the fat end of each tree support. I find that it'll pop off much quicker that way, rather than breaking off the small parts. As you can see, that came off pretty easily. That came off quite easily. And because I have this bar here, I'm not breaking the tines. That's one problem I had with the original design, especially on the small size one, is that I was breaking the tines because they were just cantilevered out and not supported. So at least now they're sort of cantilevered out from 2 positions. I see I have a tiny little bit of stuff inside here. Let's get this guy. I made quick work of that. So there's that guy. The 0.5, which is, like I say, 60 thousandths or 1.5 millimeters, or 1/16 of an inch. Clips on there nicely. Nice shallow cutting. I can still use this adjuster. Not even sure what this adjuster is really for. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't know. I don't pay much attention to it when I use it. Just make sure it stays in the same position. But so there's that one, and then I just have the other one to clean off. This is the, what's left? Is this the 2? Or no, this is the 1. This is the 1/8 inch. So again, just start at the big guys, at the big end. So as you can see, with the tree supports, it comes off super easy. Actually, I prefer regular needle nose pliers, and I have multiple pairs in various locations, and I have sort of my general tub here of various pliers and things that I carry around. And for some reason I don't see regular needle nose pliers. What's here? I have mini mini needle nose pliers. These are nice. They have a little spring in there. Even though they're pretty junky, they're well used. They feel very greasy. I feel like I need to wash my hands already, just from holding this for a second. Who knows what I got on here? Break those guys off. Start the fat end. That didn't cooperate. Now you got to be careful with this ridge to not break this ridge off. I mean, it's not just going to fall off. You just be careful not to grab it and yank it off with the pliers. This one, for some reason, not popping off is monolithically. Is that the word I'm looking for? You know, maybe it's because it's these mini needle nose pliers. The other pliers is bringing them in big pieces. But so that's basically it. I could clean up between those tines, but they're going to be fine. The other reason that I printed on its side is because I don't want these. I wanted these to be rounded tips. And if I printed it this way, then there'd be a sharp corner everywhere it touches your face. And that doesn't seem ideal to me. So because I printed it this way, all the perimeters are going to make a curve right there rather than a point. So looks good. And this one, I imagine, will pop right on like all the rest did. Snaps right on. The clip doesn't break. The latch here. And another thing I had to do is I realized, so I made this part narrower. Initially, I had it full width of this, and then I realized that there's sort of a divot there, and so it wasn't actually tucking in. It was gripping on, but it wasn't actually tucking under. And so that feature allows it to really tuck under. So anyway, there we have it. We have our clipper set. We got the half, we got the 1.5. The 1, half, 1. Yeah. We get the half, the 1, the 1.5, and the 2. If I put them up like this, you should be able to see the progression of the thickness. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. So anyway, thanks for watching, and make sure you share with your friends and subscribe and like and all those good YouTubey things.